Hello friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel DS Tech Mirror. Topic for today video is pipelines in Power Platform. This is a new release feature by Microsoft in Power Platform and it is in preview mode, but it is a very exciting feature and I feel you will be really exciting to learn about it. So today I will cover this. So what I have done, I will be dividing this tutorial, that means today's video, into three different parts. First, I will be covering the introduction in this slide. Then I will take you the theory about the steps, how we can create and establish the pipelines in the Power Platform. Then after this slide, I will be directly moving to the demo part. We will see how practically we can implement this. And then I will come back to the slide number 3 where I will cover the permission part and the security rules. So guys, without wasting any time, let's get started. The purpose of Microsoft to bring pipelines in Power Platform is to kind of automate the deployment process and bring the CI/CD capabilities in Power Platform. Right now, the most of the right now what most of the folks are doing, they are manually exporting the solution and importing it into the destination environment, whether it is the QA environment or production environment. So with the help of pipelines, we can kind of automate this process, and pipelines can be set by the admins and they can easily configure it, automate the deployment pipelines in minutes rather than days or weeks. Because if you want to automate the deployment process and set up the CI/CD pipelines in Power Platform, it can take a days or weeks, but with this new process which is introduced by Microsoft, it will take some minutes and you will be done. So once the pipelines are configured, developers can initiate the deployment with few clicks and no prior knowledge of ALM is required. So the admin can set up the pipelines, they can share the pipelines with the developers or the app makers, and they can run the deployment in the destination environment. No prior knowledge of ALM is required. No need to export the solution, upgrade the version, or take care of the version and then take care of the dependencies. Nothing. So everything will be taken care by your pipelines. And point number 3 is solution deployments are pre-validated against the target environment. That means once you will start the deployment using pipelines, so what will happen, first your solution will be validated even before the deployment begins. So in case if any of the dependency is missing, so you will be notified for that, and deployment will not be proceed. If there are any environment variables, you will be asked to provide the environment variables, and once you will provide the variables, then only the pipelines will proceed with the deployments. So we will be seeing all this in our hands-on as well. In the next point, which I have already explained, connections and environment variables are asked and validated before the deployment. This eliminates any manual steps post your deployments. So this is a very good feature of the Microsoft Power Pipelines. No need to connect to multiple environments, export solutions, download solutions, import solutions, etc. So all these manual steps will get rid of, and if we use this Power Platform pipelines. So this is the high level overview of the pipelines. So basically it's step towards the automation of the deployment process, and just to make everything automatic, and that will we will kind of get rid of any manual errors during the deployment process, and also it will save some time for the developer as well as the app makers. Okay, let's move on to slide number 2. So this is an important slide. Over here we will see how we can set up the pipelines. So during this process of the configuration for the pipelines, we need at least 3 environments. One is the host environment, development environment, and QA environment. So if you have any more environment, that would be good to have. So but just for the demo purpose, we need one host environment. So this is the environment where we are going to configure our pipelines. So suppose in your project you are having 3 environment: development environment, one QA environment, testing environment, and production environment. So to set up the pipelines, Power Platform pipelines, we need one more environment which is called as host environment. We can name it host environment. So that particular environment will host the pipelines, and this is a special environment which will act as the storage and management place for all the pipelines, configuration, security, and run history. From this particular single environment, we can take care of all the needs of our pipelines. We can it will act as the storage. We can manage it from there. All kind of configuration, security, everything will be managed from one centralized place. This would be the control center for all the deployment activities. So it is recommended to keep this as a dedicated production environment. So it is recommended to create a production environment. But in today's demo, just for the demo, I will be creating a trial environment. Deleting the host environment will delete all the pipelines and run data. So which makes sense. If you're deleting any environment, we will get rid of all the data inside it. And with this, you can also conclude that in particular host environment, we can create multiple pipelines. For example, I'm creating a pipeline for one project and it will deploy from one dev environment to QA and production environment. I can create another pipeline which will take solution from another development environment and can deploy to some other environments or the same environments. So in one host environment, we can create multiple pipelines, but we need one separate environment just for the configuration or for the pipelines. Then we have development environment. In this environment, all the development activities which you will be doing, that will be the development environment, and you will be using the unmanaged environment. Next is the QA environment, the testing environment. In today's video, I will be using this environment called test user 01's environment as the QA environment, and then production environment would be test user 02's environment. In my last few videos, I have got comment that it would be good if I can rename my environments appropriately, but since I am using the trial environment, it is limited and I cannot rename my environment this test user 01 as to QA or this to production environment. So I have to go with the same naming convention. I have to use them as it is. So this is one limitation at my end, and I really apologize for that. So this would be my test user 01 environment, would be my QA environment, and production would be test user 02, and there would be another development environment, and I will create one host environment in the demo. These are the 4 steps which I will follow to set up the pipelines. First is I will create the host environment. Inside the host environment, I will install one pipeline application. Then I will go to that application. I will add the deployment environment. I will create the pipeline, and I will add the development environment and deployment stages. So all these steps we will see in the demo. So we talked a lot about the host environment. So let's go ahead and create this environment first. So what I will do, I will go to this admin center. I'll go to the environments. From here, I will click on new. I will say host environment. Because I already have one host environment, so just to differentiate, I will add demo. That's it. Region, I will keep it as India. Type, I will say trial. Purpose, leave it. Create a database for this environment, I will say yes. Then I will click on next. Language, United States. Currency, INR. Deploy sample absent data. And for now, I will not select any security group, and I will click on save. It gives me some error. You have reached the limit of one trial environment. Okay, because since I've already have one trial environment, so I cannot proceed with that another trial environment. So let me see what I can do to overcome this limitation. So guys, what I am doing, I am deleting my trial environment which already exists, and then I will try again and we'll see if it works. So I will wait for this to get deleted, and then I will go ahead and I will again try creating another host environment. So my trial environment, which was host environment, got deleted successfully. Now what I will do, I will just refresh and I cannot see any more trial environment. So what I will do, I will go ahead and create another environment, say host environment. This time I will not append the suffix demo because now no host environment exists in my environment list. I will select the trial database, go next, deploy sample absent data, and I'll click on save. Okay. So this time it is in progress. I think this is creating my environment. So once my environment will gets created, it is preparing, then we will follow other steps over here. We will go ahead and we will see how we can deploy this pipeline application in our host environment, and then we will see how we can configure other steps. Meanwhile, this environment creation is in progress. So what, let me show you. This is my dev environment, Sagar Sharma's environment. This will be the dev environment. Over here I have one solution which I will be using for today's demo, that is DS Tech Mirror solution for pipeline demo. Inside this, what I have done, I have just one dummy canvas application. I have one environment variables, and then one connection reference. So all these things I have, one cloud flow. So total 6 components I have, one canvas app. Let me show you in in a different tab. I will open it. One canvas app I have, one cloud flow which is a simple flow which is simply triggering one sample email, then 3 environment variables. So just to see how pipelines will ask us about the variables even before initiating with the deployment. So this is the canvas application with just one header. Okay, so this is the overview of my solution, and then we will see this solution in test user 01's environment, which is the QA environment, once it will get deployed successfully using pipelines. Okay, I will again go back to my environment and I will see if my environment is ready. Okay, my host environment is ready. I will click on this. Now over here, as a first step, what we have to do, we have to deploy the application, which is the Power Platform pipeline application. So for that, I will click on resources. I will say dynamic 365 apps. So just click on the install app. This will give you the list of apps, and from here try to search Power Platform application. This is Power Platform pipelines application, and click on next, agree to the term of service, and from here we can install these applications. So installation started, and over here I can check the status is installing. I'll try and refresh. So this is kind of a model driven app application, and so what we will do, we will go to this environment, and from this particular application, using this application, we will set up the entire pipeline. So this will take some time before this installation gets completed. So guys, the installation is completed. Now what we will do, let's go to this environment. I'll select this particular environment from my list over here, host environment. Okay, from here what I will do, I will go click on apps, and here deployment pipeline configuration. This is my app which I have installed. So with the help of this app, we will complete the next set of steps. Over here in the pipeline setup, you could see in the left navigation pipeline setup, over here you could see this environment and pipelines. So we will be working with these two tabs. First I will click on environments. Now we will refer our slides also side by side. Install the pipeline application in your host environment. This is done. Then open the pipeline environment application from the host environment. This we saw. Next is the add deployment environments. So let's go ahead and say new. We have to add our environments over here. So as a first step, what I have to do is the name new deployment environment. So first I will add my development environment. I will say development environment type, development environment. I have to give the environment ID. How I will get the environment ID? I will select my development environment. This is my development environment. I will click on session details, and from here I will get my environment ID. This is my environment ID. So this is a trick how you can get your environment ID quickly, and I will paste this environment ID over here. Then validation status pending, I will click on save. So this is a model driven app. If you want to learn the model driven app as well, you can go to the playlist section of my channel DS Tech Mirror. There's a complete tutorial over there, and I will be extending that tutorial as well in future. So coming back, so validation status is pending. I will click on refresh. It's success. So we are done. Now we have set up one environment for us. I will click on save and close. I will go ahead and I will click on new environment. I will say QA environment. Over here environment type would be the target environment, and again environment ID. As I said, I would be using test user 01 as my QA environment, and session details. This is my environment ID. Copy. I will paste it here. Then save, refresh. It is pending. Let's wait for this validation status. This is success now. Save and close. Then I'll click on new. Again production environment. Then environment ID, and my production environment is test user 02 environment. For the environment details, I will go to session details, and from here I will copy the environment ID. This is my environment ID. Copy, close. I'll come back over here, target environment. So just remember one thing: for development environment only select the environment ID as development environment. For all other you have to select the target environment. This is the target environment for environment type, and for environment ID just paste your ID, save, and then again we will wait for the confirmation of the validation status. This is also done. So under environments we have set up all our environments: development environment, production environment, and QA environment. Next, as a next step, we have to set up the pipelines. Okay, let's go ahead and we will set up pipeline, first pipeline, and we'll say pipeline, or I can give some different name as well, or I will say DS Tech Mirror hyphen demo pipeline. So this will help me as well. Fine. So I will say save. So this is my pipeline. I have created my pipeline, and you must have noticed the moment I clicked on save, I could see this some in a grid got added over here. So to what you can see this linked development environment. Over here I have to link my development environment and deployment stages. So these two are the next steps which I have to complete. Over here you could see create pipeline and add development environment and deployment stages. So this we are on step 4. Okay, I'll go back. I will add my development environment. So because I've already added, so what I will do, add existing deployment environment. So let me add, and from here I will select development and add. This is important. Over here you could see linked development environment. Over here I have to just link the development environment, so I can go over here and say add existing deployment environment because it was already present. But over here I have to set the deployment stages. In the deployment stages I have to tell the pipelines, okay, this would be my QA environment, this would be my production environment, and then automatically pipelines will take care that I cannot move package directly to the production environment. First I have to move it to QA, and only that particular same package I can move to the production environment. So for that I will click on this new deployment stage. I will say QA, and QA I will just say QA previous deployment stage. Now for QA environment I do not need any previous deployment stage, only the target environment ID I need. So target environment ID I can get it from here, QA environment. Now when I will configure the production deployment stage, I can mention previous deployment stage. Now if in your project or in your scenario there is some one more additional environment before QA, you can configure that as well. Okay, so from now I will click on save and close. So this is my deployment stage. I have to create another deployment stage, and I will say production, and this time previous deployment stage, yes I have, and that would be QA. And target one, click on this search icon and you will get production environment, and save and close. And this is my deployment stages which I have created. So guys, the configuration part is done now. Now we will see how we can deploy. Let me just have a quick recap for you. It's very simple. Just set up one host environment. It is recommended to create a production one, but if you are, just trying at your end for the learning purpose, you can go ahead and create the trial environment. Then install Power Platform Pipeline application. It is a model driven app. Once the environment is ready, go to your environment, go to that particular application, and then first set up the environments, and then under pipelines link your development environment, and then deployment stages. Just set up your deployment stages. So once this is done, I think we are good to proceed further. Now let's see how we can use this deployment pipeline for the deployment purpose. Okay, for that what I will do, I am inside my development environment. Okay, and I will go to the solution. I want to deploy this particular solution, DSTechmirror solution for pipeline demo, to my QA environment, which is test user 01. I will click on this. If I have not set up the pipeline, I have to export this solution, and then I have to import it. I have to do a number of manual steps. Let's see how we can expedite it with the help of pipeline. Now notice it carefully. You could see this pipeline icon over here, because since we have configured pipelines, and you can access it from inside the solution. So if you have to deploy some other solution, in each solution you could see this pipeline icon. So right now I will be proceeding with this solution. Click on pipelines, and you could see this DSTechmirror. My pipeline is coming. If I have set up multiple pipelines, so I can select from here DSTechmirror demo pipeline, and with this particular pipeline, this is my link development environment, this is my QA environment, like deployment stages, and this is my production environment. This is the solution version, and it is saying deploy here. I have to click on this. I cannot deploy directly on the production environment because I have set up the stages in my pipeline. Okay, I can go to the environment from here, but let's see how we can do the deployment. I will click on deploy here. Now it is saying QA, I cannot select production. I will click on next. Now what it is doing, it is pre-validating my solution. It is checking for the dependency, for any other thing if it is required for the deployment step. So I will wait for the validation, and it's asking 2 updates needed. Excuse me. So reestablish connection to activate your solution. So it is asking us the permission. So what I'll do, this is fine. I will click on next. Next is the environment variable. So this is really important. If in your solution there are environment variables, we have to update them before we move it to the next environment. From here I have to select the QA site URL. I will select any site for now. I will click on next, and all the other things will remain the same. And because this is the only environment variable I was having, automatically it updated the version. Now if you want, you can maintain the same version as well. You can change the version from here. This is the prefix and other things, publisher. All these things are specific to your environment. I will click on deploy, and now the deployment is in progress. From here I will duplicate this tab, and I'll go to test user 01 solutions, and you could see right now that particular solution is not available over here. So deployment is in progress. It will take some time to get over. Fox deployment is successful. Over here we can see this message, last deployed installed version. So congratulations, we are able to deploy our solution using the pipeline, Microsoft Power Platform pipeline, and I feel it's a very exciting feature. Let's go ahead, test user 01 environment. I'll refresh over here and I should see the newly deployed solution. It is present over here. Before we go ahead and see the contents inside this solution, let me start the this deploy here. You could see now this is enabled. Let me start the deployment on the production environment as well. So this is the production. Next, this will validate. It will check for the connections and automatically because I've already signed up, so it will automatically take that. Go to next, environment variables, next, and automatically incremented the version. Over here you could see we cannot edit the version in the production environment. So over here now I have to click on deploy. So deployment is in progress over here. So it took the same version, and so what it do when I was deploying, it incremented the version and the same version got deployed over here, and the same version will get deployed in the production one. So this deployment also should be completed successfully. But meanwhile, let's go ahead and check the solution in the test user 01, which is our QA environment. First thing, by default it is our managed solution. We did not configured any manual step. Automatically this will be deployed as a managed solution, and managed solution means we cannot make any modification in the solution over here in QA environment. If you need more clarity about managed solution and unmanaged solution, I have created a video in my YouTube channel. You can go to the playlist for the model driven app, and over here you will find a video related to the solutions. You could see all the six components are present. Same my canvas app, then my flow environment variable, so everything is got deployed successfully. This deployment also will be completed, so I will utilize this time to cover our last slide, which is also an important piece. So let's just go through it. It is related to the permissions and security role. So when we install the Power Platform pipeline application, two security roles are automatically gets added in that particular environment. One is the deployment pipeline user and another is the deployment pipeline administrator, and these two are important roles, security roles. So let me show you in person also, and meanwhile our production environment, in the production environment also got successfully deployed. So which is great, and again you can see this got disabled and Q is enabled, because first any update if I want to again deploy, I have to deploy it in QA and then only I can take it to production, which is really great. And very quickly I will show you the solution should be present in our production environment, which is test user 02, and here it is 1 minute ago. So this is also done, and now let's cover the permission part. I will go to the host environment and I'll go to the admin center. Let me close other tabs. From here I will select my host environment, because I want to show you the security roles which got added. Security role first is the deployment pipeline user. This security rule has privilege to run pipelines that have been shared with them. It doesn't grant access to create, edit, or delete pipeline. So as an admin, if I'm configuring the pipeline, what I can do, I can assign this role to the app maker or the developer or any other team, which I want to give them the access to deploy this solution. So what I can do, I can assign this role to them, and what it will do, it will only give them the access to deploy it. They cannot create any pipeline, they cannot edit or delete it. Another is the deployment pipeline administrator. This role has full control over pipeline without needing any system admin role. So in my environment, if I give this role to any individual or any group, what it will do, it will grant them full control over the pipeline associated with my host environment. Having said that, all the pipelines in the environment, right now we have configured only one pipeline. So if there are, let's say, 10 pipelines, if I assign this role to a person, so that particular person will be having full control over all the 10 pipelines in my host environment without, and I do not need to give them system admin role with respect to my environment. So these two are very important role, and you should know it, and it could be a very good interview question as well. So over here, what I will do, I will just show you. This is the system admin role, which we do not need to give. If I want to give the admin role for the pipeline, this is pipeline. Okay, new role. No, I do not go to the new role. Let me search. See, deployment pipeline user and deployment pipeline administrator. And from here, you can go and add people. That's it. Click on that role and add people. So this is done. Now share pipelines with makers and developers. Like as I said, assign user the deployment pipeline user role from within the host environment. This you can do. Now in the deployment pipeline configuration app, share the pipeline record with makers. Read privileges sufficient to view and run a pipeline from within the development environment. So what we can do, another thing is from this app also, which is the deployment pipeline configuration. Another is you share the security role, and another is from the pipeline also we can share. I can go to the pipeline I have, and from here I have this share access, and I can share it with someone. Read, and once I'll assign them read permission, let's say test user 02. I have to see there could be a scenario this user is not present in my new environment, so I can add any user and give them read permission, and with that also they should be able to run the pipeline also, and this will not give them any permission to create or edit. Another is maker must also have privileges to export solution from the source development environment, as well as privileges to import to the target test and production environment. So what does this mean? For example, I assign this role, I share this pipeline with someone, or I share that particular role, pipeline user role, deployment pipeline user role with test user 01, and test user 01 try to deploy this solution. So that user should also have access to export the solution from the dev environment, and also the import the solution to the destination environment, because ultimately behind the scene my pipeline is doing the same, and if the end user is not having that particular permission, it's not gonna work, and it perfectly makes sense. So this is just an informative step for you, so just take care of the permission part as well. And another thing is, from this host environment also you can take care of each and everything. What it will do, because this is the centralized placed for each and everything. Let's just wait. Okay, not okay. Okay, let me do one thing. This is my, I was going to this solution. I'm inside the host. Let's go to this deployment pipelines. From here, another thing, you can check the run history and solution artifacts. These two are really helpful. One, run history, you can see who initiated the deployment, what is the start date, end date, operation status, owner, target, everything. With this, all the records will be maintained. Another very useful feature is the solution artifacts. Over here, the way otherwise manually we used to store the packages file in our Azure DevOps and any other repository which you are using, what it will do, it is taking care of each and everything. See, because we did this deployment, automatically it is saving this artifact file also, generated on tape. So automatically it is maintaining the entire records as well. So there is no chance of any missing the backup file. If you need any backup file or rollback, if you want, you can easily do it from here. So this is another step which I would like to cover in today's video. This is deployment. So overall, pipeline setup we have covered, environment pipelines, deployments we have covered, and another is the pipeline dashboard. So this is the dashboard which will give you the idea about this deployment process. And if you want to learn this about dashboard, how you can create the dashboard and how many kinds of dashboard we can create, again I will recommend you to watch my model driven app series. I have covered over there in detail. So mostly I have covered all the feature of this app. You can explore through it. There are much more to this, how you can link flow to your environments and other things you can explore around it. So guys, that's it. Thank you for watching today's video. If you like this video, please like and share the video and subscribe to the channel to get notification for our upcoming videos. You can also join our group on Facebook called Modern SharePoint, and you can follow me on Twitter to get all the updates from the Office 365 world. Till our next video, much love, keep learning. Thank you.